Hi, I'm Ryan Frayne from Portland, Oregon, and my company is Windcatcher Technology. Windcatcher designs and manufactures outdoor and travel gear products that use our patented rapid inflation technology to allow them to inflate in seconds without any power or pumping. So my background is I guess you could say I was an independent inventor before the campaign was successful, but I wasn't a successful inventor, and so I had, an actual job, so just basically odd jobs. I'd take any job I could get, uh, make some money, squirrel it away, quit that job, and then take that money and try to make something of it, try to make the invention I had a success. So I have 3 other inventions, but those 3 other inventions never had any success. It's trial and error. It wasn't until Windcatcher that I was able to actually quit my job and not go back to it. And so that's a pretty good feeling. So in my case, I quit my job 2 months before the campaign was going to launch, and that time was mostly spent on putting together a video, shooting it and then editing it, and also, creating an actual prototype that we could show in the video. But even before that, that's when you want to be doing your research, finding out what other people have done, what other creators have done in order to have a successful campaign, and also, of course, look at the campaigns that are very similar to your own product. So in our case, our product was primarily camping gear, or people who would like going camping, and so we looked at other campaigns that had successful Kickstarter for camping gear. And one in particular, the Hammock, which was a hammock, was somewhat analogous to what we were doing with the Windcatcher AirPad. And because of that, I basically would just Google for the hammock and then look at all the articles that were written about the hammock, so that when we actually launched our campaign, I then contacted all of these blogs that wrote about this hammock and said, hey, we have this amazing AirPad, and why don't you check it out? And I made sure to keep all of my emails very concise, because you have to remember that members of the press and these blogs get hundreds and hundreds of requests, and just put yourself in their shoes. If you're spending a ton of time going through emails, you don't want to read an email that's 2 paragraphs long or even 1 paragraph long. So keep it super simple, 1 sentence, and then here's the link to my campaign. Thanks for your time, that kind of thing. And it worked. And people who got that email overwhelmingly would eventually write an article about us. One thing I did learn, and I definitely recommend doing this, contact the press before your campaign launches and tell them when it's going to happen. Because if you wait like we did, you're just going to be put in the queue, right? So you may not know this, but when people write for blogs, they stack up a bunch of articles, and then these articles get released periodically over time. And so they could have, a week's worth of articles already written by the time that you contact them. So even if they love your product, you're not going to get in there until 1 week later, which is exactly what happened in our case. Gizmag really liked us. They told us they'd run an article about us, but it still took 7 days for the article to actually post. I didn't invest in any money for marketing because we didn't have any money for marketing. I spent $2,000 creating a prototype, and I think really our main expense for the actual campaign was a $20 tripod. Other than that, the video was shot on an iPhone, and all the marketing was just sort of organic traffic. Basically, people would watch the video and they'd like it and they share it with a friend, or we'd tell a blog to check it out, and then they would, of course, if they were interested, they'd post an article about it, and that would help spread the word as well. But no money was spent on actual marketing. For us, we got pretty lucky. Our campaign wouldn't have been successful without an article that was posted on Gizmag, which is this popular blog that covers gadgets. So for us, it was just, I would suggest everybody contact blogs that have written about other Kickstarter campaigns, especially if your product is similar to something that they've already covered. because you never know which one's going to write about you, and you never know which one's going to be picked up by the other media outlets. I mean, Gizmag is a pretty big blog, but it was really the fact that they wrote about us, and then a bunch of other blogs took that article and ran with it, and our campaign exploded because of that. So, I mean, like I said, we got the exposure because of that article in Gizmag. And once you get the right blog, other people will pick up that article, other blogs will pick up that article and run it, and so it can just really snowball from there. But you have to put out, a bunch of emails to a bunch of blogs, because you never know which one's going to write about you. And you know what? You could even get on a popular blog, right? You get a blog post that's on a very popular website, but it may not matter because they post you on, a Thursday, and then something happens Friday that just pushes you down to the bottom, and then nobody reads you. So it's really a lot about timing, and really, it's just a numbers game. Contact as many people as you possibly can. We didn't work with any consulting agencies. It was really just me posting stuff. My friend and business partner at the time, Rob, was also helping with the campaign, telling his friends and family about it, helping to spread the word. So all of those things. He also did a bunch of stuff on Reddit. Reddit for us proved to be, pretty powerful. So if you have a video that, for us, it was about laying the groundwork for a campaign that was going to be successful. It was all about creating a product that was going to be compelling for people to share. And so if you have something like that, if you're lucky like us, and you have a product that's highly demonstrable, then put all your effort into making the world's greatest video, and if you can get a couple of the right people to view it, they'll share it with their friends and their family, or they'll post it on their blog, and then it'll snowball from there. But you have to start with a solid foundation. You need a solid video and a solid product to show off, and that was really what resulted in Windcatcher's success. Going into Kickstarter, there was no Windcatcher company. It wasn't until after the campaign was successful that we basically took care of all the legal stuff, including filing for an LLC and actually forming a legitimate company. And this is important because when you do a Kickstarter campaign, if you don't have a business in place beforehand, then it's going to require you to put that Kickstarter money in your bank account, because you can't open a business bank account before you have a business. So all that money was funneled into my personal account, which made doing taxes pretty miserable in 2013, because I have to sift through what was my personal stuff and what was the business stuff. So if you can afford it, I would definitely recommend setting up an LLC before launching your Kickstarter campaign, so that you can set up a business bank account, so that money goes into your business bank account, and you can keep your personal stuff completely separate from all of your business stuff. We didn't try to get any loans from any banks or anything like that. For one thing, for me, half of the reason, or most of the reason I was doing the Kickstarter, was to see if this product was going to be something people wanted to buy. And so it didn't make sense for me to get money from a bank, because I wanted to see if I could make this a success with only the money I had available, which was $2,000. And fortunately for us, it was successful. You'll probably need a bank at some point, so it's not a bad thing. It's just in our case, it wasn't part of the initial game plan. I developed the idea on my own, just in this studio apartment that I'm sitting in right now. Just a lot of trial and error. You start with the cheapest, or at least I do. I start with the cheapest material possible to get the fastest working prototype I can possibly make. So in my case, it was garbage bags and $50 heat sealer. And once you have a proof of concept, then you can move on to slightly more expensive stuff. Buying existing products if it's relevant for you, and then sort of combining them to the multiple products together to make a sort of finished product. I mean, the one that you actually see on our first Kickstarter video isn't even a finished product. That's actually made from 2 air pads that I bought from a store near here, and then I just combined those two together with some material that I bought from a company online, and it was enough to look good for the Kickstarter campaign. And then after the campaign was successful and we had that money, that's when I moved forward with actual manufacturing. Because before that, I didn't have enough money to have a company manufacture a legitimate finished sample.